Hi students, today we will discuss about abnormalities of neuromuscular junction. The most important is myasthenia gravis. As we know that at neuromuscular junction there is a release of a neurotransmitter which is called acetylcholine, and acetylcholine it attaches to receptors, and then after that there is depolarization and muscle contraction. Now, in myasthenia gravis, what happens that antibodies they are formed against acetylcholine receptors. So you can see here Y-shaped purple-colored antibodies and green-shaped acetylcholine receptors. These antibodies they get attached to these green receptors, which are acetylcholine receptors, and when the antibodies they occupy these receptors, acetylcholine cannot bind, and hence they cannot produce depolarization and muscle contraction. So this is the basic mechanism of myasthenia gravis. Clinical feature of myasthenia gravis are because of muscle weakness, and the hallmark of myasthenia gravis is fatigability. The patient feel more weakness as the day ends. So most common muscles which are involved, they are ocular muscles. Here you can see that there is difficulty in opening eyes, there is drooping of eyelid, eyebrow is also drooping, then there is smoothing of the forehead, then there can be drooping of the corner of the mouth, then as the disease progresses there can be difficulty in chewing, talking and swallowing, and finally muscles of breathing and muscles of neck can be involved, and limb girdle muscles they can also be involved. As far as the diagnosis and investigations are concerned, first of all, we see that if there is fatigability of the muscles, and usually it occurs in females, then there is a strong suspicion of myasthenia gravis. So we can do anti-acetylcholine receptor antibody level in the blood. Sometimes anti-musk antibodies they can also be present, but mostly anti-acetylcholine receptor antibodies they are present in the blood. Then we can do nerve conduction studies and single fiber electromyography and repeated nerve stimulation test. Edrophonium test is basically a test in which a short-acting anticholinesterase, which is actually a drug which inhibits acetylcholine degrading enzyme. So it transiently improves level of acetylcholine, and hence when we give it there is improvement in the muscle strength, which indirectly shows that perhaps patient is suffering from myasthenia gravis. Since myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disease, and it is usually associated with thymic hyperplasia or thymoma, it has been seen that we do CT scan of neck and chest as well. And if there is thymic hyperplasia or thymoma, surgical removal of thymoma and thymectomy, it brings an improvement in the patient of myasthenia gravis. Then after that comes to the treatment of myasthenia gravis. Obviously, in myasthenic crisis, we give IV anticholinesterase inhibitors, and we give either immunoglobulins, or we do plasma pheresis of the patient. So in plasma pheresis, what we do is that we remove all the defected plasma containing autoantibodies from patient's body, and we replace it with normal plasma. So in immunoglobulin infusion, again we have to repeat the dose of immunoglobulin over 3 to 5 days, and dose is 2 gram per kg body weight, but it is very expensive. Efficacy wise both are same, but plasma pheresis has got more complications, for example hypotension, infection, hypocalcemia and many more. So after that, there are certain drugs which can exacerbate myasthenia gravis. Among these, most important are antibiotics, which is macrolide, quinolones, and then after that, antimalarial and beta blockers. Then we will discuss about two disorders of neuromuscular junction briefly: Lambert-Eaton syndrome and botulism. In both of these syndromes, the basic problem is with acetylcholine. That acetylcholine is made unable to act on the receptors somehow or other, by either producing antibodies against those receptors, by either cancelling its release, or by blocking presynaptic voltage gated calcium channels, which is the case in Lambert-Eaton syndrome, that presynaptic voltage gated calcium channels they are blocked by antibodies. So hence acetylcholine release is affected. So, in Lambert-Eaton syndrome, it usually occurs in small cell carcinoma, and it is also a muscular problem. A patient present with weakness of muscles, but the difference with myasthenia gravis is that repeated stimulation of the muscle or repeated use of the muscle, it improves strength, and plus there is also autonomic dysfunction in Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and there is hyporeflexia. So the treatment is again cholinesterase inhibitor, which increases the level of acetylcholine, and 3,4-diaminopyridine, which is a drug which blocks potassium channel, hence increase action potential and increases the level of acetylcholine. So this was about Lambert-Eaton syndrome. Then after that comes another neuromuscular junction problem, which is botulism. Here again, there is defective release of acetylcholine by the action of botulinum toxin. This botulinum toxin, it can be present in the canned food, and it is common in the people who use canned food, and it is also common in IV drug abusers. So again, patient present with a muscle weakness, that can be ocular weakness, dysphagia, difficulty in speaking, then respiratory muscle involvement, and all clinical picture is same as that of myasthenia gravis. But here duration is short, and usually a patient gives history of consumption of a food. The treatment is botulinum antitoxin.